Hi guys, Eugen is here, and today I will share you my childhood trauma and how two types of iconic tubes 300B and 2A3 affect the sound. And before we jump into the review, be sure to subscribe and hit the like button. It's very important for channel growth, and so I know you like what I do. So, our perfect battle will take place with a minimum of variables. Here are two almost identical amplifiers called Mira Ceti, made by the young brand Fezz Audio. The recipe for their success is really simple. The company was founded by people who have been making super cool transformers for high-end audio for many years. And as we know, high-quality transformers play a fundamental role in tube amplifiers. Fezz amps were born reasonably priced. The Poles don't try to charge you for the brand and any kind of luxury things. All of their devices look very decent. They are neatly assembled, felt sturdy, you won't find plastic anywhere, knobs are made from solid aluminum, quality connectors are installed on the rear panel, and so on. Plus, you can choose the color of your amp. It can be white, black, red as a Ferrari, or even burgundy. As I said, these are tube amps operating in a pure Class A. Both of them utilize two 6SN7 tubes in the preliminary stage and as drivers, but there is a difference in the output stages. The white one utilizes the legendary 300B tubes designed by Western Electric in 1938. And the black one is made for 2A3 tubes, also power triodes like 300B, but designed by another audio legend, RCA, in 1932. These specific tubes are from Russia, 300Bs are made by Electro-Harmonix, and 2A3s are by Sovtek. In terms of equipment, the amps are absolutely identical. They have two pairs of acoustic terminals for 8 and 4 ohms loudspeakers, three pairs of RCA line inputs, and one separate pair for home theater input that allows to bypass the preamp stage and the volume control. Think of it as a direct input to its power amp. It's useful if you are using a source with its own volume control, such as the one I have here, Orander A200. Both of them are equipped with nice Bluetooth remote controls that change volume in large steps, so that a suspicious person like me sometimes get nervous that the volume is either a third of a decibel higher or 1.5 decibel lower than I want. And you can achieve an intermediate value only if you force yourself to tear your butt from the chair and manually adjust the volume. And every year it becomes more and more difficult to do this. I believe that these old-school tube technologies don't get along with modern Bluetooth, but I have found the perfect solution. Frankly speaking, it was founded by our fathers, and I, only being a poor mimicry of my creator, adopted it. The name of this solution is power. In early 90s my father called me, Eugen, come here, quickly! And when I, driven by curiosity, came in, he asked me to switch the channel on TV. And yes, it worked every damn time. If my dad would told me some amazing fact every time I came, then I could become like Sheldon Cooper and start the YouTube channel Fun Something with Eugene Shvedov. Anyway, I do the same, but in a much more straightforward manner. Directly ask my son to come and gently turn up the volume. He is 6 and he loves knobs, and luckily for my lazy ass it works for now. Okay, let's get back to our amps. Basically, these are absolutely identical devices that only differ in output stage triodes, the very difference between which I wanted to understand. And of course, you have noticed that the white amp has large rounded mirror transformer caps, but the black one has angular black covers. They aren't so beautiful. There are magnificent toroidal transformers made by its parent company named Toroid under their covers. To be fair, it must be said that the transformers are different, of course, because they are wound for different types of tubes. But otherwise, you can count on the completely identical design. And one more thing, the black one has a highlighted logo on its front panel that the white amp lacks. But this is a question of taste. Personally, I haven't yet decided which look I like more. If we look into the specs, we'll see that there are also some differences. For example, the 300B amp has output power of 8 watts per channel, and the 283 amp has only 3 watts per channel. And the 300B's harmonic distortion has a higher value of less than 0.4% versus less than 0.25%. Also, the 283 amplifier has an upper frequency limit of 56 kHz instead of 45 kHz for 300B. There is no more difference, and we can assume that our tube comparison will be as clear from everything else as possible. The amps are extremely identical, and we have constant sources, cables and loudspeakers. As a digital source, I use the new Orange Array 200. As an analog source, there are my Micro Seiki RX 1500 turntable, equipped by the SAIC WE407 tone arm, with Orthophone Quintet Black S cartridge mounted on it. Then the signal comes to the Phonolab Quatvor MC transformer connected to the Hegel V10 phono stage. The loudspeakers in my setup are electrostatic Martin Logan ESL X's, and all of them are connected with Nordost Frey 2 cables, including power cords. So, what I noted first, they quite successfully combine tube fullness with precision and honesty. My point is that none of them are caricature tube amps with a fat, thick sound. They aren't. They're more of a moderate type. They're not as strict as solid-state amps, but they still sound fairly accurate and don't have a strong tube coloration. Something somewhere close to neutrality, not to a peak, but of course they still sound with a certain tube character and warmth. But most importantly, the difference between the tubes turned out to be much greater than I expected. But overall, both of these amps don't hate any of genres I listen to. You can listen to almost any kind of music with them. And here's what I can say about these tubes. 300Bs are showman tubes. They, in direct comparison, deliver everything more beautifully. They blow up more, paint brighter, their strokes are larger and often more sonorous. But now I want to go back a little and remind you that I just said that in general both of these amps don't force their tubeness too much. Now we are already talking about the comparative difference, keep that in mind please. For example, the new album of the Norwegian electronic artist Torje Fargetun-Spilde, who performs under the moniker Third Attempt. I like him as a person who creates amazing chill landscapes, and now he has released a new album which is somewhat different from the previous one. This 23-year-old musician appears to be in some creative pursuit, and in my opinion he is growing. This time around, Third Attempt has cheered up its sound a bit, becoming a little less chilly and a little more energetic. Its opening track Freak Out is a lightning-fast reference to Moby from the Play Days or DJ Shadow's first album. Such are my instant associations. This album sounds bright from the 300B amp. On the one hand, these tubes have enough precision not to blur or slow down the sound, but at the same time, such music doesn't need much precision, and the more spectacular it's served, the better for the listener. As a result, you get a lot of drive, a lot of beauty and no fatigue. I'm absolutely in love with it. 2A3 tubes show more accuracy and honesty. They allow less freedom, and this is expressed in the fact that you hear more details, they are more clearly drawn, the whole picture is cleaner and a little drier, as far as this word can be applied to a tube amplifier at all. And although the 300Bs sound brighter and more beautiful in my opinion, but you pay with large harmonic distortion for this beauty, you hear a little less truth. Whether you need it or not, everyone decides for himself. When I switched to the new album from Massachusetts heavy band Cave In, herein, in my opinion, 300Bs are already starting to lose. The band play what I would call some kind of progressive metal, and this kind of music needs more precision and sharpness for my taste. And if you think that you need more truth, then 2A3 just gives a noticeable, more transparent, accurate and honest sound. But it's not so relaxing and lulling, there is a little less pump, but you definitely hear more. Heavy rock music only benefits from this. You have more definition, tension, nervousness and all that. Everything is just more accurate with the right mood and presentation. At the same time, there is a quite enough speed here. This sound doesn't get stuck in the tubes. I didn't notice anything that could spoil such kind of music. With 300B tubes, this music still sounds acceptable, but a little safer, without the tension that this album has. I think that many will like this kind of presentation, and I got higher. But in comparison, I still choose the capabilities of 2A3 tubes. And I want to share another interesting album. More precisely, this isn't even an album, but a whole series that are still to be released. 20 LPs will be released in total, but for now we only have the first part. So it's called For the Birds, the Birdsong project. It's a compilation dedicated like a bolt from the blue to birds. It is inspired by Birdsong. There are many big and even great musicians here. You will meet Nick Cave, Beck, Damon Albarn, Uncle, Karen Elson, Michael Rother, Jarvis Cocker and over 200 contributors. All of them wrote their composition, mostly very calm ones, dedicated to birds. A kind of gratitude that they exist in our world and how good it is for all of us that they exist. Sounds weird, I know, but it's really cool. In a brief statement about the project, Elvis Costello wrote, "This should be so very obvious. Without birds, we would be knee-deep in worms, swarmed by bugs, the trees bereft of song. The least we can do is raise our voices in praise or lament." Also, in between the music, you'll find famous actors such as Sean Penn and Tilda Swinton reading short essays on birds. In summary, this isn't just a music compilation, but a kind of music and audio book with an incredibly calming and healing effect. Listening to this compilation, I could hardly answer the question about the preferred tubes. It was a difficult choice, but I still preferred the truthfulness of 2A3s. I won't tell you that they definitely sound better than 300Bs, not at all. Everything is just the opposite in many respects, but my internal preferences led me to 2A3 tubes. There I find a little more for myself, and all in all, I like the sound of my setup, my loudspeakers more like this. But I think if I had sources and or loudspeakers with a harder, sharper sound, I would prefer 300Bs. Taken all round, there is no absolutely right choice. You must decide for yourself what you'll like more. Try to correlate it with what you have in your setup and try it on. I can definitely say that both Mira Ceti versions can suit people with different tastes. These amps aren't genre devices that serve only jazz or something else. You can safely listen to rock or electronic music on them and get something that solid-state devices won't give. These amps definitely feature harmony, musical talent and a bit of personal touch through the use of different tubes. And this is exactly what gives us the opportunity to choose the option that fits us best.